My name is Sophie, I'm 32 years old, and this is the story of how I was excommunicated from my family via text message. It was on my lunch break at work when the notification appeared. My father, Henrik, had sent a message to our family group chat. For a moment, I thought he might be checking in. The message loaded, and I read it twice before the words registered. We've decided to end all contact. Stay away from us forever. There was no explanation, just a cold, clinical statement. Before I could process the initial blow, my phone buzzed again. My younger sister, Elena, had liked the message with a thumbs-up emoji. I sat in the break room, my half-eaten lunch forgotten, staring at that little blue thumb. The fluorescent lights hummed. Everything felt surreal, as if I had drifted into a different reality where family could simply text you away and your sister would rejoice. My hands were shaking as I typed my response. I didn't think. I didn't draft and redraft as I usually did when dealing with them. I simply wrote what came to me and hit send. I will remove my name from all loans tomorrow. Then I turned off my phone, finished my meal, and returned to work. For years, I had been the family's responsible one, their financial safety net. While my sister, Elena, partied through college on our parents' cash, I worked 2 jobs to pay for my own education. When our parents, Isabel and Henrik, wanted to refinance their house for a European vacation, I was the one who co-signed because my credit was perfect and theirs was in disarray. When Henrik decided to lease a truck he couldn't afford, who do you think guaranteed the loan? When Elena needed a car after totaling her 3rd one, who signed as the primary borrower because no dealership would touch her? I was the dependable daughter, the one who showed up, signed the documents, and wired the money, asking for nothing in return except a little respect I never received. Instead, I got years of snide remarks about my weight, my career choices, my decision to remain single. Elena once told me my dress choices would destroy the aesthetic of family portraits, so I was cropped out. I was chastised for being selfish because I couldn't drop everything to drive 3 hours to a cousin's baby shower. But I kept showing up. I kept signing. Because that's what families do, right? Apparently, that philosophy only flowed one way. When I turned my phone back on during my drive home, it began to shake as if having a seizure. The family group chat had exploded. Sophie, are you serious? How could you threaten us like this? You are vengeful and selfish. Elena, you are literally trying to destroy us. I need my car, Sophie. I have a job. The last one almost made me laugh. Elena had been working at a boutique for 9 months and had already called in sick more times than she'd worked full shifts. The texts kept coming, each more frantic than the last. Relatives I hadn't spoken to in years suddenly had opinions on my character. I scrolled through it all with a strange sense of detachment. These people had just told me to stay away forever. Now, less than an hour later, they were furious because I had agreed. The only thing I was taking with me was the financial anchor they had wrapped around my neck. I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my banking app and began taking inventory. The house refinance, in my name as a co-borrower because Henrik's debt-to-income ratio was too high. The truck lease, my signature as guarantor. Elena's car loan, entirely in my name because her credit was so bad no lender would approve her. And the personal loan, 18,000 euros I had borrowed for my mother's kitchen remodel with the promise she would repay me. She had made exactly 3 payments before the excuses began. I had been carrying it all. I barely slept, but by 7 a.m., I was at my kitchen table with my laptop, phone, and a legal pad. The house came first. The representative I spoke with was bored until I explained what I needed. If the other borrower wants to keep the house, I stated, he must refinance under his own name. If he does not qualify, the house will have to be sold. After being transferred to the legal department, I had a clear understanding of the process. If Henrik couldn't qualify for a new loan, and I knew he couldn't, a forced sale was inevitable. I felt no guilt, only the grim determination of someone finally choosing to stop setting herself on fire to keep others warm. The truck lease was next. I informed the dealership's finance manager that I was withdrawing as guarantor. He wasn't pleased but confirmed that if Henrik couldn't find a substitute or refinance, the vehicle would be repossessed. I wrote the certified letter before lunchtime. Elena's car was the one I dreaded. Legally, it was my car. I had made every payment for 3 years. I could just take it back. The thought lingered as I scrolled through the increasingly unhinged messages in the group chat. Henrik was now threatening to sue me for financial abuse. I called a college friend, Sophia, who was now a family law attorney. Hypothetically, I began, but she saw through it immediately. "What did your family do now, Sophie?" she asked. I told her everything. When I got to the car, she laughed, but it wasn't a pleasant sound. Then, hypothetically, she said, "That person owns the car and can repossess it whenever they want. Take the car, Sophie. Take it today. Don't tell them you're coming. Just go get your property back." I left work early. Elena was still living with our parents, driving the car I owned. I knew her schedule. She'd be at work until 7. I had a spare key. The car, a glistening white sedan, was parked in the driveway. The interior was a catastrophe of fast food wrappers and makeup, but I started the engine and drove away without looking back. I parked it in my designated spot at my apartment complex, locked it, and went inside. Then I sent one message to the group chat: "I have retrieved my car. Elena can arrange for alternate transportation." I muted the conversation and went to my evening gym class. The fallout was nuclear. When I returned, my phone had over 200 new messages. I'd been removed and re-added to the group chat 3 times. Henrik had left voicemails threatening to report the car stolen. Elena had tagged me in a Facebook post about narcissistic family members. Extended family members were calling me selfish and heartless. Around 9 p.m., my phone rang with an unfamiliar number. "Sophie," an elderly but forceful voice said. It was my grandmother, Edith, my mother's mother. "Your mother called me, extremely upset," she said. "She told me you've stolen your sister's car and are trying to force them out of their home." I told her that didn't sound like something you'd do without a good reason. "So, I thought I'd hear your side." I nearly cried. In a day where everyone had assumed the worst, someone was actually asking for my side. I told her everything. The years of being a financial safety net, the constant criticism, the text message, the decision to free myself. She listened without interrupting. "Some people go through life believing the world owes them unconditional support," she said when I finished. "Your mother is one of those people, and she trained Elena to be the same. I'm sorry they treated you like an ATM instead of a daughter. You're doing the right thing." Before we hung up, she added, "I'm rewriting my will next week. You deserve family support, even if it comes after I'm gone." The following weeks were a masterclass in boundary enforcement. The house refinancing moved forward. Henrik was denied a new loan, and the bank initiated proceedings for a forced sale. The truck lease was resolved when Henrik found a coworker to co-sign. Elena's transit problem became a full-blown saga on social media, complete with a GoFundMe that raised about €270 before people grew tired of her narrative. Work became my sanctuary. My manager noticed my renewed focus and energy. "We're discussing promotions in the coming months," she told me. "Your name is definitely on the list." 3 months later, I was promoted to senior account manager with a 15% raise. The house sold after 3 months on the market. After the mortgage was paid off, there was about €35,000 in equity. My attorney ensured I received my share, which amounted to €18,000, as I had been making the majority of the payments for years. Henrik texted me, calling me a vulture. I didn't reply. The €18,000 personal loan for my mother's kitchen remodel was the last piece. My lawyer advised suing, but the emotional and financial cost wasn't worth it. Instead, I made a calculated decision. I stopped paying. My credit score plummeted, dropping 60 points as missed payments accumulated. It pained me to watch something I had built so carefully be damaged. After 6 months, the account was sold to a collection agency. I negotiated a €4,500 settlement and paid it in a single lump sum. In total, I had paid about €12,500 on a loan that was never mine to begin with. Isabel got a €5,500 discount on her kitchen. She never once mentioned the missed payments, which told me all I needed to know. A year after Henrik's text message, I purchased a 1-bedroom condo with a balcony overlooking a park. It wasn't big, but it was mine. My name on the deed, my mortgage, my freedom. I invited Sophia over for a housewarming. We ate takeout on my new couch and drank wine from mugs. To Sophie, she toasted, for having the courage to save herself. The family group chat was a ghost in my muted notifications. I heard through the grapevine that my parents and Elena had moved into a smaller rental across town, telling anyone who would listen about their terrible daughter who had wrecked the family. I didn't care. I was building a new life. I had even started dating someone, a software engineer who was kind, made me laugh, and didn't expect me to fix his problems. One Saturday morning, as I sat in a coffee shop, a man approached my table. It was Luca, Elena's ex-boyfriend from a few years ago. "I heard about what happened with your family," he said, looking uneasy. "Well, I heard Elena's version first. But then I ran into an old friend of yours, and she told me the real story. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry for what you went through. I saw firsthand how they treated you. You were always the one they called when something needed to be fixed or paid for, and I never heard them say thank you once." I was stunned. "Thank you for telling me that," I said. "It helps to know I'm not crazy." "You're not crazy," he said firmly. "You're better off without them. You won." I hadn't felt like a winner. I felt like I'd survived a catastrophe and was still picking up the pieces. But maybe he was right. Maybe getting yourself out of a toxic situation wasn't about winning or losing. It was just about choosing yourself for once.